It's not
like I'm begging you. Please don't.
I don't care. I don't care that you're begging me. Let me finish my sentences. It's that simple. Can we have a conversation or not?
Well, how fucking long are they going to be, man?
I literally was talking for I was talking for less than 3 seconds before you interrupted me there.
No,
Stop.
Just asking you not
Stop.
to diatribe.
Stop doing it. Stop. All right.
Anyways.
This requires more, and
yeah, but
so
you're
the
not
barrier is
with
higher.
The argument. You're like, why don't you contend with my argument instead of going on these diatribes I don't care about? Contend with my actual argument. So let me try this one more time.
You know what that word means,
right? Can you give not so much thought into sex and still have sex? Like, no. Can you just give?
The answer is no.
I'm
saying that the barrier for sex and borrowing a pen are incredibly different.
I didn't say that they weren't different. I'm asking if you can give consent to sex without a lot of thoughtful consideration.
The answer I said was no, and then followed up with, I think borrowing a pen and sex are entirely different. I answered your question directly and then said what I said.
So just to make sure I got this right, every time people have sex, you think that they give thoughtful consent?
I think every time people have sex, they should give thoughtful consent, and I feel like unless you see something I think. What
are you talking about? It's not my question, man.
I'll tell you what I'm talking about if you let me finish my sentence. What I would say, because there are people who haven't given thoughtful consideration. There are people who have had sex while drunk, and in those cases, those are rape. So no, you're just asking me.
Drunk,
you're just you're just asking me a question of does it occur, and the answer is sometimes it does. Sometimes people do have sex without thoughtful consideration.
That was my point, though.
And such cases are rape. I really feel like this conversation would go so much more smoothly if you would just let me finish my sentences.
Okay, are you finished with your sentence?
I think it should be obvious to you when I'm finishing my sentence. If you're going to start being patronizing by asking me every time if I'm finishing my sentence, that seems to me like you're trying to indicate that you can't tell the difference, which means that we probably shouldn't be having a conversation. Please be in good faith and continue the freaking conversation.
I'm trying, man.
Stop frustrating me.
The thing is that if I start talking and you say, let me finish my sentence when I think you're done, right? So
you didn't think I was done.
Okay. Well, let's back up then. Back up. Because originally I asked you, do you think that every time people have sex, it requires thoughtful consideration? You said yes. Now you're saying no.
Yes, I'm not saying no. I'm saying that thoughtful consideration is required for consent. I'm saying sometimes people do have sex without consent.
That's not my question. But back up. Nobody's saying that people have not had sex without consent. This, again, has nothing to do with my argument, nothing to do with my question. I'm saying that can people have sex without giving thoughtful consent? Can they just consent without being particularly thoughtful about it?
I don't think you can give consent without being thoughtful. No.
So, like, you've never just woken up with, like, morning wood, just rolled over and done it with the chick who was next to you, and not a lot of thought went into it, or what?
So I have done that, and I would say specifically that those sort of situations are in relationships in which we've kind of established that, like, we are sexually monogamous, and that she would be sexually gratifying to me, and I would be sexually gratifying to her. But if there's something, like I said, that is like an indication that she doesn't want it, I would stop. For example, one such case, I rolled over and began doing what the freak I was trying to do, and she seemed rather stiff. So I asked her, what's going on? And she told me, you can keep going, but it's just my mind's not in it. And it was like, okay, at that point, I do believe if I would have continued to have sex with her, that wouldn't have been rape, because she gave me verbal consent. But I do think her body language and everything, and like her kind of unresponsiveness, indicated to me, oh, she's not really into this. She doesn't really want this.
But so what? It has nothing to do with what I'm saying. If
it
you
does.
Just roll over and pork the chick next to you and it's fine, you didn't put any thoughtful consideration into the consent, and neither did she. That's my point.
I did put thoughtful consideration into
it. What thoughtful consideration did you put into it? In this instance, maybe you did, but there's other times you just roll over, do your thing. You're not even you're like half asleep. You're not even really thinking about it, right?
I don't know. I think I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I've never ever like had sex with someone where there was ever a shadow of a doubt that this person was wanting to have sex with me.
Yeah,
And
but
it's not like it's
it's
not,
not my claim.
and
Not my
it's not,
claim, bro. Listen, listen to what
it's
I'm
not.
saying.
Hold on, let me finish. And it's not like during the thing. It's not like you just roll over and just instantly stick it in. Like you roll over and you begin engaging in foreplay and other things like that, and you look for all of the signs of like reciprocation, and you begin doing it in that way. It's not like you're just going to go in and just and raw stick it in. I hope not. Well, I don't know. Most men are terrible at
So
sex.
you've never woke up in your life. You haven't had your morning cup of coffee. You just happen to have morning wood. You roll over. You bang the chick who's next to you, right?
I just explained this.
You're not putting thoughtful consideration into it every time. And by the way, right? She might have just woke up with your dick in her, right? What thoughtful consideration
Oh,
has
that's
she been able to put into it? You know what I mean? But
yeah.
it seems like it's okay, right? Seems like it's
No,
not a big
it's
problem.
it wouldn't be unless, of course, there was, like, again, some sort of indication such as, like, a person and again, I think this relationship and the ongoing and continuous sexual encounters that you have with someone, I think begin to start giving sort of an implicit consent that kind of covers scenarios like that. So, if I've been in a long-term relationship with someone and they've, like, kind of we've been having sex every day, I'm not gonna have to ask you every single day, "Can we have sex again today? Can we have sex again today?" That sort of consent starts becoming heavily implied by all of the other thoughtful times that they've given consent.
Okay,
That's what
gotcha.
the
So,
difference
like,
is.
how many dates? How long do you have to court before you think you have that kind of repertoire and relationship with a woman? Can it be as little as one date?
I don't think that there's any number of dates. I don't think it's something that you can enumerate. I think there has to be some. I think the implication, for example, a person
No,
can.
I agree. I agree.
So
It's
so so
intuitive.
so for
So intuitive, right?
for example, a person can give you consent on that day and then not want to have sex with you again. Just
So
because a
in
person consented,
right.
so if a person consented to give you sex on the first day, trying to have sex with the person the next day is still not. It's still
I
it's not
agree.
rape.
So you would say
I mean,
that
it could be rape.
so you would say that there's an intuitive element to this. So it's
I
not that easy. So it's
I
not
don't
really
think I
that
don't think
easy then,
I don't
is
think
it?
what I
Now, hang
described.
on, hang on. Let me
I don't
finish
think what I
now.
described was intuition.
I was mid-sentence. Let me
You asked me
finish.
a question, but it's okay. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
but hang on, I wasn't done with it.
It's
So
okay.
the
Go
thing
ahead.
is that if you agree that it's intuitive, and that's what you're agreeing to right now, you're saying there's a large portion of this that's intuitive. But then at the outset of the debate, you're like, we need to define this. Well, you can't always define everything that's intuitive, which is why I was somewhat loose with the definition because there's a massive intuitive element, and that's what I was getting at. And that's where we are with you agreeing that there's also an intuitive element to this. There's implications beyond just what you can write down, right? Some things that are better felt than told, right?
So that's a complete misrepresentation of what I was saying. I am not saying that it's intuitive. What I was saying was that there can be things that become very implicit from ongoing consent from other situations. I think that is very distinct from something just being intuitive. And so what I would say is again, because you could intuit that a person basically says, well, since they had sex with me yesterday, that then they're fine with me having sex with them today. Whereas that person can say, nah, this old shrimp dick nigga didn't actually do his job. So no, the answer is no. I don't want to have sex with him ever again, right? And so then in those kinds of cases, then yeah, you could probably try to intuit that a person gave sex, but I would say that a singular sexual encounter is not intuitive that the person is giving consent. But what I would say is all of these other indicating things, such as a relationship, such as a continued and fruitful sexual life with, I mean, a sexual relationship with that person. I would say
Leads you to intuitiveness.
and I would say things like body language and things like that, and their responsiveness during the sexual encounter. All of those things, or during the steps leading to the sexual encounter, such as foreplay, because ain't nobody just going straight. I'm hard, stick it in, no kissing, no nothing, whatever. Most people aren't doing that. Any sane people, non-sociopaths. So I would say all of these other things are indications of consent. I don't believe that consent has to be straight verbal. Yes, you can have sex with me. I think you can get consent from other things, but I would say all of those things start to become long-term implicit, and those are the things that would cover such situations as
Great.
like the person
Okay.
giving
So
consent to
without
this.
a big long diatribe, just so that we can keep it on
I don't
point,
think you know what diatribe
right?
means. Go ahead.
Well, I think I do know what diatribe means.
Okay.
But that aside, let's try this. Can you just answer this question yes or no? Because it's not loaded. Is there a portion of this that's intuitive?
Is there a portion of it that's intuitive? Yeah, sure.
Okay, thank you. That's my whole point, right? So if there's a portion of it that's intuitive, it can't be defined that well, right?
Wait, I'm sorry. Say it one more time.
If there's a portion of it that's intuitive, it can't be defined that well because it makes it somewhat subjective.
I don't think that the presence of intuitive elements means that something can't be defined. What?
If something is subjective, can two people define it differently and both be correct?
Sure, but then
Okay,
what we
so
would
if
yeah, well,
something's
hold on, let me respond
intuitive,
fully, let me respond. Sure, but what we would do is we would start to do rules that are a lot more broad and try to use those things to
please don't do a
encapsulate
diatribe.
so
Please
I
just
okay.
keep it concise.
Listen,
Just
I
keep it
don't care. I
concise.
listen. Every time, if it's not like
Like
that I'm
I'm
being.
begging you, please
I
don't do a
don't care. I don't care
diatribe.
that you're begging me. Let me finish my sentences. It's that simple. Can we have a conversation or not?
Well, how fucking long are they going to be, man?
I
Can you just
literally was
keep them
talking for I was
reasonable?
talking for less than 3 seconds before you interrupted me there.
Just
Stop.
asking you not to go on a
Stop.
diatribe.
Stop. Stop doing it. Stop. All right. Anyways, yo, I think it's been fun, bro.
Come on, man. Just
I
don't
think we
go.
should just stop. I think we should just stop. I don't think you're capable of having a decent conversation.
Okay. I mean, whatever you want to do. If you need to absolutely end the broadcast because you can't keep things concise, so that I don't have to address 4 different points and we can stay on one logical line, that's up to you, man.
Oh, actually, hold on. One more thing. Nah, you're right. You're right. Yeah, okay, good. If you're telling me moving forward that you can't like stop the interrupting, then yeah, I guess we probably should end it. I think it's been fun. I hope you enjoyed the conversation, man. Yeah, you take care. Okay.
Have a good day. Have a nice one, Fanatic.